Let's go through 3 multiple choice questions about the topic of compartmentalization. Now, before we get into these questions, let's just quickly review what this concept is. Basically, in a eukaryotic cell, the organelles are going to create a smaller space for specific reactions to occur. What these smaller spaces do is it encloses all of the reactants, the substrates, the enzymes into one small area so they can more efficiently have access to each other. What that basically does in these organelles is increase the substrate concentration without actually increasing the amount of molecules. What the cells are actually doing is decreasing the space those substrates and enzymes are in. That makes them bump into each other more often and become more efficient at going through those reactions because they're interacting with each other more. So that's why eukaryotic cells have organelles, is to compartmentalize these different reactions. Now, knowing that, let's take a look at the multiple choice questions where there will be an easy, a medium, and a hard one. Here's the easy question. The process of compartmentalization in cells allows for, we just reviewed this, so let's see if we can figure out the answer here. A, the mixing of cellular processes and reactions. No, we're not mixing the cellular processes, we're actually separating them, so A is totally wrong. B, disintegration of the cell membrane. No, it's actually using the cell membrane, so B is out. C, decreasing the size of molecules. We're decreasing the area the molecules are at, but we're not actually decreasing the size of the molecules. D, increase in the amount of time it takes for reactions to occur. It actually is the opposite, where we're actually decreasing the time since it's going to be more efficient, so D is out. Let's hope that E is the right answer. E, greater efficiency in carrying out specialized functions. Yeah, this is the answer, and it is correct. We talked about how compartmentalization here basically just increases efficiency of specialized organelles. So the reason why this is an easy question is basically just regurgitating. It's just memorizing what does compartmentalization do in eukaryotic cells, and that's your answer. Here's the medium question. Which of the following organelles does not demonstrate compartmentalization by using a membrane? So again, this is a little bit more of a difficult question because we have to remember that compartmentalized organelles need a membrane. The original question asked, yes, what organelle doesn't compartmentalize? But it's actually just asking which one of these organelles here is not a membrane-bound organelle. Nucleus, that has a membrane. Golgi body, that has a membrane. Mitochondria, that has 2 membranes. Ribosome doesn't have a membrane. Chloroplast, yeah, it actually also has 2 membranes. So the answer here is ribosome, since it doesn't have its own membrane. Here's the last question, and you can already see why it's hard. There's a lot of words here. When you initially look at this, you might get overwhelmed, but break it down. Why do prokaryotic cells? Remember that prokaryotic cells are very small compared to eukaryotic cells. So remember, this is a prokaryotic cell, this is a eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. So again, why do prokaryotic cells generally lack the benefits? What's one of the benefits of compartmentalization? Well, we know that efficiency is going to be way higher in these organelles. Why do prokaryotic cells generally lack the benefits of compartmentalization seen in eukaryotic cells? So basically what this question is asking is, why don't prokaryotic cells get the efficiency that eukaryotic cells do? Well, one of the main things I just talked about in the beginning here was the fact that eukaryotic cells have membrane-bound organelles. These membrane-bound organelles are where compartmentalization occurs. So let's see if we can find that in our answers. A, they have no internal membranes to isolate biochemical reactions spatially. I think we found our answer. Let's check the other ones though, just to make sure. B, they maintain identical enzyme conditions across every internal region. Meh, I don't like that. It's not really what we talked about. C, they store genetic material in a single nucleus, lacking protective membranes. No, they don't have a nucleus, so that's out. D, they rely entirely on diffusion to regulate enzyme and substrate interactions. No. And then E, they synthesize all macromolecules on ribosomes embedded in the membrane. No, we didn't talk about that. This is why A is the right answer.